GS score.
GS score. GS score.
GS score.
GS score.
GS score. GS score.
GS score.
GS score.
GS score है. GS score.
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 Hi, dear friends. I'm Dr. Singh. Today, the purpose of me coming to you and making a very short video is to basically focus on the Indian society as a part of GS Paper 1. Of late, when you start looking at analyzing the questions, particularly from the first paper, you find that how the number of questions from Indian society is increasing. There are so many areas out of which if the 8-9 questions comes from the Indian society, then this is the unit which cannot be neglected and should not be taken light of. Moreover, it's not merely the Indian society that we are talking about preparing for the GS Paper 1. The boundary of the syllabus has to be completely broken. When I say boundary of the syllabus has completely been broken, it means society is an important part in your preparation of the civils. You as a civil servant will also be working in a society, will also be serving the society. Thus, the nuances of society has to be known to you. And as far as the GS Paper 1 preparation goes, I just told you that Indian society is one of the most important area that has to be viewed, that has to be prepared with a very keen interest and a conceptual clarity. Now, when I'm looking at the approach to the Indian society, we need to focus on the changing nature. The changing nature of the syllabus, right from 2013, from where the syllabus changed. And when you're looking at the last 3 or 4 years, you find about how the nature of questions, and not only the nature of questions, but the dimensions of the units which have been there in the syllabus, that is also been probed into. And the questions are coming. Prima facie, the moment you look at the question, you feel that the first feeling comes that yes, I can write. But writing that in 100 words, 150 words, sometimes in 200 words, you feel that you are unable to write it. And that is only because of that you have not prepared it well. The conceptual clarity is not there with you. The dimensions of the units have not been. And that is the purpose for which I came here. In the last more than 2 decades, 24 or 25 years of teaching. And some misnomers has to be eradicated. That have to be finished. Now, many times I find that we are preparing for social issues. No, there is no social issues here. A simple sporadic happenings will not become the issue. So, the moment you look at the Indian society, do not restrict yourself to the Indian society. You just, in a very brief, try to know what society is all about. And when you say society, divide it in two parts. That you are trying to understand in general, journalistic kind of perspective, and also in terms of the particular kind. When I say journalistic, then you are more concerned of Western society. And here you are concerned of Indian society. And then you just try to understand the differences and the similarities. So sometimes the comparative questions comes out, you'll be able to answer that. Like if you go back from where the syllabus changed 2013, 2014, you find a question, how Indian secularism is different from the Western secularism. So you are not talking about Indian society, you're talking about society and its different facets. When I say facets, focus on the syllabus. And this is most marks fetching paper day, we have not been able to do justice with that one. And many times while teaching, and I find about it when I'm talking about even those who have done their course, and when they come for the improvement for the integrated mains program and others in a GS score, the first thing they say, sir, such kind of conceptual clarity has not been done. It means you have just gone through and you have taken the units, the syllabus very lightly. The static part must be added with the dynamism. When I say dynamism, it means the things which are happening around me. But mind me, when I say things happening around me, it is not a sporadic kind. And in the static part, you just try to understand that how this could be added. In a sequence, you try to understand that. Every concept, every facet, according to syllabus, the conceptual clarity should be there. And in this very perspective, make a synopsis. And once you have made the synopsis, you just try to go for the static and dynamic portions with the interlinkages to the current. Whatever the current affairs which are there, which are going through, either in terms of polity or in terms of the economy or in terms of science and tech. Look, every unit which you go through, every area you study, it has its repercussions, it has its reverberations in the society. Just try to go to that. Don't read the lines, go behind the lines. Develop your analytical mindset. And then, which is increasing number of questions in paper 1 for that we are talking about. And it is also Indian society would be overlapping with the essays, with the GS4, GS2, where we are talking about the governance. There are many parts in the economy where we will be going through. Internal security would be there, where will the certain part would be coming out, and more or less. Since I am a sociologist teaching sociology for more than 24 years, the GS paper 1 syllabus of Indian society seems to be very similar to that of the second paper sociology. The only thing is that the theoretical models, the approaches, what you have come across in sociology, that will be used in a sociology paper, which has not to be used in an essay, which has not to be used in a GS. And once you talk about the Indian society, culture, diversity, social issues, changes, this should be the major focus of it. And from here, I said conceptual understanding is the most important. Conceptually, it should be very clear. I find about the certain questions like sometimes they ask you the caste is static and fluid. They asked about the empowerment, sometimes related with the Dalits, sometimes related with the women's. So the empowerment, when you pick up, you should be conceptually clear. Open up the dimension. Your conceptual clarity is key to the success. And once you are conceptually clear here, then there are different units, different concepts or terms related to the concept should be there on text. And in this very perspective, current affair linkage I said about the government, recent government reports, schemes, they will be coming to substantiate your answers, not to frame your answers, to substantiate your view. And it is interdisciplinary, connect with economy, polity, ethics. Answer writing would be, I'll be talking about answer writing, but apart from this, when you talk about, you need to talk about the salient features of Indian society. Now I say that when you're talking about, you just look at like this and you write it, salient features of Indian society. All right. Now mark it like here. It is an archaic. You understand archaic is ancient. And it is a syncretic. Syncretic means blend. Syncretic society. And once we talk about this one, then open up some other dimensions. Some other features like when you talk about here, you just talk in terms of Indian society. When you say Indian society, in a popular parlance, we have been using about the term Indian society in a generic term. But any one of you who is part of the Indian society, the moment you look at the Indian society, you find about a widespread diversity, either in terms of racial, ethnic, linguistic, all right, religious. The moment you talk about it, it seems that Indian society is basically a society of societies. And once you say about the society of society, that yet another feature that will come out is basically called diversity. So you'll talk about diversity of India, relate this one, and you'll find about diversity. Look at the basis of diversity. I talked about racial, ethnic, religious, geographical, linguistic. All right. So they look at the basis. But despite this diversity, there is something which binds us. This is called unity. So unity and diversity. However, we need to understand the diversity without fragmentation, unity without uniformity. And once you have done this one, then look at continuity and change, plus change and continuity. The questions are coming from there. Every unit, caste, tribe, secularism, communalism, regionalism. You need to use that one. Continuity and change, change and continuity. Either we're talking about Indian family system, we're talking about the marriage system, Hindu marriage, Muslim marriage. That diversity part will make you understand. And once you talk about this one, then go for another feature that is called tradition and modernity. All right. Now, whenever this we're talking about the interaction between tradition and modernity, we find about the three kind of interactions will be coming. Either the tradition will oppose the modernity, or modernity will replace tradition. But for this, these two, tradition and modernity, will have to power pervasive enough to replace one. In Indian context, neither of these two concepts, they have been power pervasive enough to replace one another. Thus, we find about the coexistence between tradition and modernity. And many times when you look at a question, just the one question I said about caste is static and fluid. Are we not talking about traditional social structure in terms of caste? Are we not talking about the modern changes which have come out? You just try to develop such kind of conceptual clarity. And once you talk about tradition and modernity, then you just talk about the changes. Changes coming from within, changes coming from outside. Now, when you look at modernization is a process, and when you compare with the Western society, the Indian society, you find about modernization has been an orthogenetic. Orthogenetic means coming from within. It is an internal source. So the core issues, the basics of the society, they were touched upon. So its impact have been different. But when you look at modernization as coming from a heterogeneity from outside in India, then the core issues remain, though the changes have been witnessed, but not replacing that. And that way, this unity will be coming up. Once such kind of things have been done, then one of the important features is caste system. Maximum questions are coming from the caste system. I'm planning to make a smaller video for your understanding on caste, women, communalism, minority. And if you find about the certain questions comes out, prepare that one. Do not talk about. Try to have the conceptual development, conceptual understanding that what is caste. Caste over the ages. Passing reference in history you might have gone through. And certain views. They have asked the questions like Dr. Ambedkar and Gandhi's views on caste. Alright? And from there we will be talking about the Dalits, scheduled caste. And there are many questions on the Dalits. So from here you just pick up the views of Gandhi versus Ambedkar. You also pick up in terms of Mahatma Phule, Ipak, Periyar, Naikar. So the dimensions are opening up. Some presses from the history which you have come through, they are to be brought. And then look at. And in this very perspective, you will be looking at Dalit consciousness, Dalit assertiveness, Dalit identity. All right. And once you have done this one, then there has been saying in old times at us that anyone who wants to approach Indian society, the three cardinal features should be there. Caste system. And mind me, when I say caste system should not be viewed merely as a Hindu social organization, part of or feature of Hindu social organization. It is an old statement which has been made. Then the two religions based on the principle of equality, when they entered India, that is Islam and Christianity, the elements of caste were in the air, from which they could not escape themselves. So you do expect the questions, the caste-like elements in a non-Hindu community, they could ask in the Muslims, Christians, Sikhs. So they can ask in that very perspective. And look at caste in terms of the same continuity and change and continuity, tradition and modernity. Dalits, the new kind of changes. All right. Once you have done this one, open up the dimension. Then another feature is basically joint family. I don't know whether you are aware of the term co-parsonary, how the Britishers use the term co-parsonary. And you find about the question that there was a question in 2014, if I'm not wrong, that how the life cycle of joint family seems to be more economic than social. Such kind of questions could be. So you just, when you talk about the joint family, talk about the changes in the family. All right? From joint family to the nuclear, what are the factors? And not merely the family, you just talk about the marriage as well. So here, family plus marriage. All right? What are the changes coming out? What are the factors of modernization that have led to the changes in a marriage? But for this, you needed to understand the traditional dimension. You needed to understand the aesthetic part. And then the dynamic changes that have to be understood. The questions have been opened up. Once you have done this one, then from here, we talk about Jajmani system. All right? In which you will be coming to rural agrarian social structure of India. Now, anyone who is preparing the Indian society, he cannot ignore the rural agrarian society. When you look at, you might be having the data. When you talk about the urbanization, this is the one topic which is there. Urbanization problems and the remedies. Then you find about almost 66-65% people of India still live in villages. So you look at the village economy, look at the village social structure. And once you have done this one from Jalmani, you just come to the urban society. Relate this with rural urban in a continuum, not in terms of opposition. All right? Do not talk about rural urban dichotomy, talk about rural urban continuum. And once you have done this one, then you talk about tribes in India. What would be debate here? Why there is a problem of definition of tribes? Article 366, clause 25, Article 342. So they ask the question, why the scheduled tribes in India are called? Why the tribes in India are called scheduled tribe? What are the constitutional measures? Just try to go into that deep. It will take time here, and UPSC is not a shortcut time. I do not take Indian society lightly. I have said it in the very beginning. If you really want to do good in a paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, Indian society should be taken very seriously. Your conceptual clarity should be there. And once you have done this one, then please go for it. There are so many questions coming from here, dear secularism. What are the challenges of secularism? Cultural practices. Make it one. One of the greatest aberration to the practice of or the spirit of secularism is capitalism. So you'll find about the certain challenges. All right. Focus on the impact of globalization. That is the one area that cannot be neglected anyway, either in polity or in economy. And Indian society is the one. So you just look at. So you'll find about globalization, its impact on Indian society. And here you're finding about secularism, communalism, reasonism, social empowerment. All right. The moment you talk about the social empowerment and the different kind of issues. The same government schemes, the certain laws, the legal measures, constitutional safeguards, they all are to be brought. And once you bifurcate them, it will become your base for the second paper in governance. Look at the issues, all right, like social welfare, social justice. Social justice is written over there. And you're talking about social justice, social welfare, poverty and hunger, education, health, all right, the institutions, the mechanism, programs and policies. Create this one. Do not bifurcate, do not go for. You bring it, make it more holistic. And that's why I said, no, while preparing, do not limit yourself with the boundary of the syllabus. Break it. You need to come to the level to break the syllabus, the boundary of the syllabus from paper 1 to paper 4. This is one, this is the GS. Interlinkages, the interdisciplinary approach, that has to be developed by you. That much labor has to be done, that much conceptual clarity has to be done. And from here, do focus on the transformation of Indian society. But apart from the transformation, your focus should also be there in terms of paradoxes. What are the paradoxes which have emerged? And then challenges. All right. And that way you basically need to make your preparation. That way you will have to understand the Indian society. Conceptual nuances are to be focused, and it should be your primary concern. Open up the dimensions. For example, you pick up the caste system. Say about conceptual clarity. All right. Issues related with the caste. The philosophical dimensions, in which sometimes the debate will come out between Dr. Ambedkar and Gandhiji. Who are the leaders who have basically favored or somewhere championed the concerns of the lower castes? So you talk about the Dalits, talk about the OBCs, look at the initiatives, and initiatives must be viewed from two. Constitutional, that what are the constitutional manifestations, and then talk about what are the policies and programs the government has introduced, what are the new legal provisions have come up. So they are asking the questions on transgender, they've asked the questions on manual scavengers, all right. So this way your understanding, but do not go for a piece of information here, not to be understood separately. This is the syllabus, everything is a part of the syllabus, and within the syllabus the things will come up. Salient feature of Indian society, diversity of India, I opened up. Then role of women's organization, that's yet another important area. And almost every year, right from 2013 till 2010, when we're talking about, almost everywhere, either in paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, the questions of women have been there. Open up the dimensions. And then population associated issues, all right? Questions are coming, the conceptual dimensions are coming, all right? I'm not picking up because that will be too lengthy. And certain conceptual questions are coming here, related with the birth rate and death rate declining one, fertility. So you need to understand that where I'm heading to you. Then poverty and development issues, urbanization, their problems and remedies. When it's the poverty and development issues, talk about development, which will make you to go to the paper 3, sub part of economy. Talk about the social development. Poverty will make you to the paper 2, poverty and hunger. It means when you are taking the concepts, try to take the concept to the second paper and understand what is the demand of that paper. It means here in a paper 1, we are talking about the conceptual dimension. When you're talking about the poverty in paper 2, we are talking about the governance. In a paper 3, we are talking about the economic dimensions. All right. Sometimes there could be questions on ethical dimensions. So that way you are at the core of paper 4. This way you pick it. All right. And that would be there that you are opening up. Mark it out. That here is paper 1, here is paper 2. This kind of things are paper 3. And sometimes you get confused and look at the PYQs. But I said PYQs, not necessarily the questions which have been asked will be asked. All right. you must come to the level of preparation either in optional or in a GS, where you will be able to anticipate. Your anticipation will make you not to struggle. And the most important dimensions apart from this conceptual clarity and understanding interlinkages, interdisciplinary, is your writing skills, writing practices. All right? How much you read is not important. How many pages you have written before you have taken, we are going for the mains. This is the most important dimension. Make it a habit. I'm not saying that make a 5-year plan. That every day I write 10 pages or 15 pages, 20 pages. No, dear. Keep a certain target. That every day I'll be writing half an hour, 1 hour, but I'll practicing my answers writing either in terms of my optional or in terms of GS. All right, pick up, make it 2 or 3 questions every day. I'll be writing. Once you start with, when you become regular, your speed will increase and your time will also increase. Don't want to make a time that every day I'll be writing 5 hours. No, this is not. Keep a smaller goal, chase it, increase it, go through this. Writing practice is must to qualify civils. But when I say writing practice is must, then the question which has to be asked, what is to be written? The moment you come to the level, what is to be written? Then your syllabus, its thread-wise analysis, your analytical mindset, the static and dynamic aspects, and your conceptual nuances. All right? Writing means you are not writing anything. All right? You need to understand the demand of the question. What is the need discussion of the question? In which your reading, your conceptual understanding, all right, your interdisciplinary approach, your interlinkages ability to interlink, all right, your analytical mindset will become handy, all right, and slowly and gradually will be taught. We in a GS score are launching the webinars and also the workshops. We are launching the batches for the GS Foundation. I invite all of you to come be a part of it. And I promise, on behalf of the entire team of the teachers, the dedicated teachers, the mentors, I don't feel the term like teacher, that we are mentors of you. That you come, feel the difference, realize it. Do not run after. Today, the media world, all right, you open it, you have the enormous data. How far that data has to be used? Do not waste your time there, all right? Do not waste your energy. Sometimes when you have read wrong, sometimes when you have developed the wrong concepts, it becomes too difficult in part of the teachers like me who will be talking you conceptually. We have first to erase it and then to write it. Sometimes it becomes too difficult to erase the entire one. So read with the authentic source, choose the best mentors, and with this, I know everyone says that we are the best. I'm also saying the best. But before you decide, come once to the GS school. Come attend 1 or 2 classes, you'll realize, you'll feel the difference. Choice would be yours. We are here to help you out. We are here to make you realize your dream. All right? Most of the mentors who are there, part of the GS score, they have seen their primes in terms of the teaching field. We are here to help you. All right? And I invite all of you, please come. And one by one, everything will be talked about and everything will be the part of this one. I wish all of you the best of luck. Thank you.